Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Well, coincidentally, today marks the 12-month anniversary from when I first purchased this beautiful Husqvarna 701. So what does that mean? Well, it means it's time for me to do a 12-month review on the bike, of course. Some of you will remember that I did a 6-month review, surprisingly 6 months ago, which generated quite a few positive remarks and comments and seemed to be of interest to those who watched it. So I thought I might as well do a follow-up. I'll leave the link to the previous video in the comments below, and also up above here to the right should you wish to watch it after this one. So I'm going to try not to repeat too much of what I've mentioned in the previous review, other than to say or recap that when I first bought this bike I paid approximately $9.5 grand for it, and I took delivery of it on the 1st of April 2022. The only major modification I made to the bike at the point of purchase or prior to purchase was to have the suspension lowered, but again, as I said, I've already discussed that in the previous review, so make sure you watch that if that's something you want to learn about. So what I intend to do in this video is just to focus on the running costs of the bike, any sort of technical, mechanical, electrical or other issues I've had with it during the previous 12 months, what the service costs have been, and the general cost during the previous 12 months, etc. I'm going to include details of all the tyres I've had to replace, and then you can make an informed judgment yourself whether you think that represents good value for money or whether it's an expensive bike to own. So unfortunately I haven't done anything like this on any of my previous bikes, so I've nothing to reference these prices and costs I'm going to give you against, but nevertheless some of you may have an indication of what your current bikes are costing you, and therefore you'll know where I'm coming from. So I'm not sure whether I mentioned or not on the first video, but when you buy these bikes new, they come with a manufacturer's warranty of 24 months. So my warranty on this runs out on the 31st of March 2024. So thankfully I've still got another year to go, which isn't too bad, just in case any problems do crop up, but realistically I don't think they will. So after taking delivery of the 701 on the 1st of April 2022, last year, it had its first, or I say it had its first, it had its 600 mile service on the 26th of April, so nearly 3.5 weeks after I bought it, and I think that was mostly down to the weather and the fact that I was still getting used to the bike after using the big adventure bikes, so I didn't rush out and rattle off 600 miles in one day as some people do. So the service costs at Craig's in Dewsbury, which is where I got this bike from, £60 an hour labour, or that's what it was at the time. I'm not sure if that's still the case, it probably is, but if it has changed I doubt if it's gone up a great deal. But £60, it seems reasonable to me, and far less than some other vehicle workshops that I know. The first service required 1.5 hours labour, so that's 90 quid obviously, and the total bill was 170 quid. Now I must admit, for a first service, when you've really done nothing at all on the bike, that sounds expensive, but I understand that they do an oil change, they may well change other things, I'm not sure what else they do change or replace, but if you want to find out, have a look at the service manual online. So because the 701 is quite a powerful bike, it does put out quite a bit of power to the back wheel, it does eat through rear tyres. So on the 1st of August last year, after I'd done 4,400 miles, I had the rear tyre replaced, and when I first bought the 701 it came with the TKC 80s, which is sort of a mixed combination. I think it's 60% road, 40% off-road. So when I came to replace the rear, I thought I might as well have a like-for-like fitted, which is what I did, and a replacement TKC 80, it cost me 129 quid, but that wasn't at Craig's, that was just at an independent tyre place that I use frequently on the other side of Leeds. So I must admit I do quite like the TKC 80s, they do tend to inspire confidence on the road in all sorts of weather conditions, far more so than the Michelin trackers which I'm using at the moment, and I find the trackers can be a little bit unnerving on certain road surfaces, especially on like tarmac surfaces. If there's grooves in the tarmac, you tend to follow them like tram lines. But then on the other hand, Michelin trackers, they're far better suited to off-road riding, with the added benefit that they are still road legal, and they are also considerably cheaper than TKCs. I think you can get a set of trackers for about 120 quid, as opposed to just one rear TKC 80 on its own. So problem wise, in regards to the 701, since I've owned it, the only issue I had, or have had with it, in the entire 12 months I've owned the bike, was back in December 2022, when I started to have a few issues with it, where it wouldn't start as reliably as it should have done and had been doing previously. I spoke to Craig's about it, and they invited me to take the bike down to them, as obviously it was still under warranty. So I took it down, and I think that was about the 15th of December last year. They initially put it on their diagnostic machine, did all the usual checks, battery, connectors, everything, fuses, full mashings. They couldn't find any fault with it, either visually or electronically, through the diagnostic checks, and there were no fault codes thrown up or anything. So from memory, I think Craig's had the bike about 2 or 3 days, and that was by mutual agreement, and the benefit of that was that they could leave it in their cold workshop overnight to replicate my conditions at home, where I had the bike in the garage, and see if that had any impact on the battery. But for some strange reason, each time they tried it in the morning and multiple times throughout the day, it started first time every time, which sod's law, isn't it? So I think in reality I'd probably got some dirty or contaminated fuel in it, which must have cleared itself on the ride down to Craig's from my home address. I can't honestly think of any other reason what the problem was, and neither can Craig's. So on the 10th of February this year, 2023, I got the bike booked in for its first proper service, again down at Craig's, and that was at 6,759 miles when I took it down. Now I knew this service was going to be a biggie, and it was going to be pretty expensive, because as well as everything else, the valves needed checking, and it's obviously the first proper service and check-up of everything after the initial 600-mile running service. From speaking to other 701 owners, although the valves are due to be checked at this particular service, they always seem to be within tolerance and don't need any adjustment. But again, it's just one of those things that when the bikes are under warranty, if you want to keep up to things like that, then you just need to bite the bullet and get it done and suck up the cost. So the service cost on this occasion was 430 quid, but that was for everything, including labour, parts, and as I've said, the valves checking, which does take a bit of work to get to them, I think, from what I understand. So currently the bike has done 7,480 miles, which is pretty good going for its age. If my maths is right, in the last 12 months, excluding the obvious things like fuel, the bike has cost me £729, and that works out at approximately £60 per month running costs, on top of the other bits like your fuel, etc. So, does that represent good value for money? Well, you tell me. Leave a comment down below. By all means, let me know what your opinion is and how that compares with whatever you might be riding at the moment. On a personal level, I'm very impressed with the bike. It's an absolute awesome machine, capable of anything that I throw at it or demand from it. We know though, don't we, as motorcyclists, that it's not necessarily about the cost. You get a bike to have some fun on and to give you some freedom, and if you can get some satisfaction from your bike, then the costs, as a general rule, are pretty irrelevant. I've travelled many places on this bike since purchasing it: Cornwall, Devon, Somerset, Scotland, Wales. I've taken it on a camping trip in Hampshire. I've taken part in a fundraiser for the Yorkshire Air Ambulance, and I've also taken part in the Ring of Red M60 Remembrance Sunday Day. I've had numerous trips to the lakes, numerous off-road rides, mostly up in the Yorkshire Dales, and have many similar trips planned for this year too. So if you're considering buying a 701, and you're currently sitting on the fence thinking, shall I buy one, shall I not, can I afford to run one, then maybe, hopefully, this video has pointed you in the right direction and provided some valuable insights and information to help you make an informed decision. So if you're still watching the video now, and I hope you are, thank you very much for that. Please leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. Let me know how the costs compare with your bike. share the video if you know anybody that might be interested in it. Consider subscribing if you've just come across my channel and you like the type of videos I create. And if you do already subscribe and you'd like to help the channel grow so I can continue putting out more of these videos for your entertainment, please consider buying me a coffee. Details are in the description below, or there's a link on the front page to my channel. Thanks again for watching, folks. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Ta-da for now.